Hey everybody, James from On Type here, and today we're doing an ISFP breakdown. So let's get into it. So let's start to dive into the ISFP personality type. First, they have introverted feeling as their hero function. And this means ISFPs are really heroic with their own morals, their own, principles, their own values. And these values, these principles, these feelings are what make up their moral code. And ISFPs really like to live by this. They like to express their feelings. They're very grateful to others. They say thank you a lot. They can kind of internalize the care and their social relationships into their own internal, guide of who they value more, who they like more. They could, I don't like this person. I really love this person potentially, of course. So ISFPs really weigh those things out of what they love, what they like. And this can be all sorts of things. It can be, hobbies they like, careers they value. And they really, really like to kind of sort things on this value scale and see, what do I appreciate more? Okay, I like this part of it. I like this person for this reason, but I don't like this and I don't like this. And they can kind of weigh out what they like or dislike. And they use this to really assess what's important in life. They assess what's important in life, and that's really a big thing for ISFPs is valuing what's important. What are they going to prioritize? And that the priority list is really kind of how ISFPs kind of navigate their world. And as we get into the other functions, we'll kind of look at how that plays into their entire ego and the rest of their cognition. And in second, they have extroverted sensing as their parent function. And this means that ISFPs are really responsible with the effect they have on others. They try to make sure that their impact on other people is positive, that they're giving them good experiences, that they're, pushing them out of their comfort zone in a way that makes them healthier and happier, but not in a way that's going to, tip and make them uncomfortable or stressed or miserable. And ISFPs, they really care about this. They also care about their skills, their performance. They want to develop their skills, develop, the reality of who they are. And that's really important to ISFPs is the reality. They don't always want to get into fictional situations and what could happen here and what could go wrong. They just want to look at, what's real, what's the reality of the situation. These are my skills, I can do this. And they really care about that because it really comes down to that sensing idea, which is what's real and how they can really affect the world. They can keep people safe, secure, they can build things. What can they do in reality that really makes it better? And that's really important to them. Their effect, like I said before, they want to provide that safety and security in other people so other people will be loyal to them and stick around for them, and that they can kind of help out in this way. And yeah, they really care about, being the center of attention. They can like that. They can like doing that. They might not care as much as some other types, but ISFPs, they like to, be able to be seen by others, have others pay attention to them, and ultimately remember them, because ISFPs do want to be remembered in reality, in people's reality. And then we have their introverted intuition in their third slot. This means ISFPs, they're very pure with what they want. They're very pure and, they have kind of a soft spot to their choices, their freedom. ISFPs don't want to be told what to do. They don't want to be bossed around. They don't want to be constrained or restricted. They want that freedom because of their passions, their choices. Ultimately, the way that they go in life, their direction is going to align with what they're passionate about, what they potentially love or like, obviously with their introverted feeling, but also it combines all the different functions. It's, they're passionate about something they maybe can build to affect people. Maybe it's art. They're very passionate about what they like or value, what's authentic to them. Maybe it's their morals. And they really care about, as we'll get to in a second, what other people think of them and their popularity and their reputation among their peers and people in the world. And so that kind of plays into that passion, but that passion can be multifaceted. It can be directed in many different ways, but they're very pure with it. They're very intense about it, and they don't want that choice. They don't want that potential to be taken away from them just because other people might not want them doing it. They really want that freedom, the freedom to choose, the freedom to go in the direction they want, pave their own path. That's really important to ISFPs. Then we have their extroverted thinking aspirational, which is also very important to ISFPs, and that plays into what I was just talking about with reputation. They really care about what other people think about them. They may, especially when younger, may want to be popular, may want to be famous, want to be rich. It's all those TE things that we know, the very capitalistic part of that function, which wants to be famous, rich, be able to show off, what they've bought so that people think highly of them. They hold them in respect, and they want to be respected by other people. Now, it depends on an ISFP's personal development, how they express this function. They may express it by learning and gaining knowledge and listening to people and what they think and kind of changing around that. Or they may take a stance that's a little more rigid of just wanting to be popular and famous, and if people, don't think poor or they don't think highly of them, sorry, then they may, not want to be around those people, and they kind of just want to go around people that praise them. It really depends on their personal development, whether they're more in a criticism accepting phase or a more praise desiring phase. But overall, this function, it really cares about that external feedback, and it can be really afraid of that. It can be afraid of being embarrassed, afraid of losing reputation, afraid of people thinking poorly of them and them being rejected socially. So ISFPs can be pretty insecure sometimes about this, but when they really try to gain knowledge and learn and listen to people and talk to them and really understand what people think and what people respect and what people know and get a little bit more comfortable with it, they can become really aspirational with this function, and they can use it quite a lot. Then we have an ISFP's shadow function. So first is their extroverted feeling. This means ISFPs can be socially anxious sometimes. They know what they value, they know what they feel, they know what they like, they know their own morals. But when it comes to other people, they might not know what other people value, what other people like, and the other people's morals. So they can be a little bit tentative about this, a little insecure. They can also worry, what if I like this person and they don't like me back? People don't like me as much as I like them. People don't value me as much as I value or prioritize them. And they can kind of worry about how other people are prioritizing things. And that's because ISFPs go to such great lengths to really figure out what they prioritize and introspect, that they can often be very good at it. And they can kind of understand that other people don't always make those kind of good value choices like they do. And so that can kind of play into their embarrassment fear a little bit as well, a little bit of social anxiety, social hesitation with this function as well. And then we have their introverted sensing, and this just means, ISFPs can be pretty critical about what they need to do, what their own obligations, being told what to do, being, bossed around like I talked about before. They're kind of, they want to have that effect on other people, be positive, make their own choice, go their own way. But when people or life tells you need to do stuff, or you're forced to do this or forced to do that, it doesn't always align with their passions. It doesn't always align with kind of what they like. And this can be kind of a critical spot for them. They may struggle to take care of themselves, do their obligations, listen to what people tell them they have to do, and they can kind of want to go their own way and be pretty independent. ISFPs also have extroverted intuition as their trickster function. This just means, they're really pure with what they want. They know their direction, they know their choices, right? They're really focused on their passions, on their future, on their path. But they can be a little unaware of everyone else's passions, what other people want, other people's decisions, and it kind of plays into that idea of not being, want to be told what to do by others and have to follow others' lead. They want to be the leader. They want to be the one to pave that path. And so when other people have choices, other people are going in different directions, it can be kind of stressful, and they can often kind of tune it out or ignore that because they're kind of just focused on their path. And then we have their introverted thinking demon, which, like I said before, they're very insecure about what other people think. They might worry about what other people think, so they want to look cool. They want to look, impressive to everybody. So they might, stuff down their own thoughts on things and just kind of listen to the majority. Listen, everybody thinks this is cool. I'm just going to do it so I can be cool and be accepted by others, and not always worry about what they think is cool or what they respect. And so ISFPs can sometimes have that kind of that thought process that's kind of shoved down. That's like their own thoughts, their own opinions, their own viewpoints on things can sometimes be shoved down if they're not expressing what they think, because they don't want to lose status or coolness within their group. So this can definitely be something that's a problem if they don't, internalize this function and process it. And then we have an ISFP's temperament. So an ISFP is concrete. They look at what is and what has been. They're pragmatic as well, and they're interest-based. So we'll kind of talk about all those different things. So ISFPs being concrete, it kind of just means that they look at what is and what has been. They're not always delving into the abstract. They're not always going out of their way to be, in that metaphysical realm. They're kind of just looking at what is right now. ISFPs are also pragmatic. So this means that ISFPs, they care about doing things kind of efficiently. They want to do things independently. They're not always going to ask for permission, ask for everybody's feedback. They're just going to do what they think works. And worst case scenario, they can ask for forgiveness instead of permission. So they care about that independent path forward. They care about their freedom of choice. And they don't want that to be taken away and have to ask people for every choice they're going to make. So they kind of have that viewpoint as well. All right, so little interruption in the recording there. There's a lot of sounds going on. I'm not sure if you can hear them, but it is quite a racket. So, worst case scenario, I'll just have to stop again. But yeah, so we kind of talked about how they're pragmatic, and then we can kind of look at their interest focus. So this means they look at individual pieces moving in the puzzle. They look at what people are getting out of different situations, so they can kind of have that unique perspective on people when it comes to many different things, when it comes to art or business or relationships. And they can understand that certain people have certain motives, certain people have certain things that they want out of situations, and they can kind of use that to make fair deals and understand different pieces moving. So that's very, very important when it comes to who they're compatible with, which is the guardian types, who are very systematic. The guardians want to set in that kind of process, that system that's really efficient, whereas ISFPs can be kind of attuned to the different pieces, and they can go, okay, yeah, this system's really efficient, I guess, but this person's really getting taken advantage of, or maybe it's them and they're saying, this is kind of an unfair system for me, you're getting more out of the system than I am. And they can really assess that and kind of criticize the systems that the guardian types, the SJ types put in place, and they can use this to kind of call them out sometimes and make sure things are more fair. And that can kind of come into play in their relationships as well. And then ISFPs are artisan types. Overall, it's kind of the combination of these traits. They're very freedom focused, impact focused. They care about living in the moment. They care about, having a good time in the moment. We didn't talk about that too much with SE, but obviously SE's living in the moment. It's all about that, right? So it, understands there's a future, can even be optimistic about it, but it's really looking at the here and now. It wants to have a good time. And that can kind of come into play in many different ways. It may come out as instant gratification, as they really want to enjoy themselves in the moment, but it can also come out as really understanding what actions have to be taken. And they're not just in the planning phase, but they're in the action taking phase as well. And they're going to get things done and actually create something in reality. And that can be really good for succeeding with their goals. All right, here we go. Now I've lost the cursor. So ISFPs, their interaction style is their background type, and first, that means they're informative. So when they talk, they can give additional context to things. They're not always just going to give one-word answers. They can give, the additional kind of surrounding facts to something so that you kind of know what's going on. If they're telling a story, maybe, they'll kind of tell you all the surrounding information. They're also responding, so as we kind of briefly touched upon, they have that strong internal world with their morals and their path and their decision-making. And they can sometimes lose energy if they're too focused on socializing with others, and they have to worry about their reputation, about what other people think, and that can sometimes drain them if they're doing that for too long. They're outcome focused, which means they want good results. They want to, have that plan where they have those steps in line, and those steps are what lead to the good outcomes and good, end goals that they can reach. And they really care about that outcome happening, that one specific end point. And overall, like I said, they're background types, so they care about, being behind the scenes. They can kind of support things if it's in a group project. They're not always going to necessarily take the lead, although they can quite enjoy that actually when they do try more and more to be a leader. But they can sometimes just support things from the background. They can be pretty chill, which is kind of something that's going around, people understanding, that some people are very chill, very relaxed, and sometimes ISFPs can definitely have that kind of mantra where they're very chill and relaxed. They kind of let other people, take the lead, do the work, and they can kind of be chill, kind of just do what they want to do and not be bothered too much by other people. Sometimes they like being in the background and kind of behind the scenes so that people don't restrict them or tell them what to do all the time, and they can kind of do their own thing independently. So it's kind of a very brief overview of ISFP's cognition. If there's any ISFPs that have actually gotten to this point, please let me know in the comments below. I know that there's not as many sensor types and that they're not as popular topics, but I do enjoy discussing them, especially if there are people watching and want to know more about ISFPs or any other in-depth content. Just let me know in the comments down below, and I hope you all have a great day.